Now for the good news. I should probably have a cup of coffee. Sorry, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I stopped speaking at conferences for a couple of months because I was getting really burnt out, and I wrote this morning after having like 8 espressos. I think I got something for you today. Q&As are going to be good at the very least. So I'm very lucky to get invited to a lot of conferences. I go to some of them, and one of them is by this guy, Martin Sorrell. He's a knight, by the way, you can tell from his sword or pen. But Martin has 150 people. Anybody here from WPP or one of the companies? It's great. So have you guys been to the Athens retreat? Oh, I was. Anyway, Martin has a couple more years. Anyway, Martin has this great retreat in Athens at a terrible location, Club Med. Like going to Athens and Club Med is like, I'm trying to think of that's like going to Taco Bell if you're in like Baja or something. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, he's got all these advertising people together, and he gave his sort of like keynote speech where he sort of his call to arms to all of the lieutenants inside the WPP group. And he said, currently, 20% of advertising that we buy or sell, blah, 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 is measurable. It needs to get to 50% in the next 2 or 3 years. You can't measure newspapers or TVs, can you? No, you can't. You can make up numbers if you're Nielsen. You can come up with all kinds of great studies. Sorry, the Nielsen person in the audience. You know it's bullshit. We can measure our shit, and the measurements are correct. We win. That's what that gap shows. We're gonna win. Newspapers, television, radio, you're all gonna lose. Until you move your stuff to the internet and you can measure it. And that's what you're gonna want to do. That's why Seattle, whatever, newspaper that nobody reads anyway, is moving to the web. And they now have less staff than Engadget. Now, some things for you to worry about. This is the, you know in a song they have the bridge? This is like sort of the bridge, because I get to go to a lot of these conferences, and one of them I go to is by this investment bank kind of thing. It's all cloak and dagger. Nobody can know you go to the event, so I can't say whose event it was. But anyway, there's a lot of smart people at it, and I go every year, I've gone for 3 years. I had like Rubini, you know, the Dr. Doom guy, who was there last year, and last year he's like, this is going to be really bad, everything's going to be cut in half, and this, you know, then all of a sudden it happened. So like it's sort of smart people. And what they're worried about, and this is a really good chart from this website called D-Short. If you like depression porn, what do they call it? Financial recession porn or something? This is the greatest slide. They print this slide every day, just so you can see where we're tracking, versus the 1973 oil crisis, the tech crash, and the crash of 1929. As you can see, this is still got a ways to go. We're only halfway through it, and there's a little jump in the last couple of days. That's what they're worried about. And this is unemployment for the last, I don't know, 10 years. And as you can see, we get 4, 5s, and 6s, but something radical happened at the end of last year where we went from that 6 all the way to an 8, and that number is kind of a BS number anyway, because it doesn't include the people who, according to these money people who like own 8% of Google or 6% of Yahoo, like they're like, oh, that number's, that's what I'm sold for. My friend, my classmate from Harvard, he works in the office in the government where they do that number. Here's how they fudge it. Like the people who don't look for jobs are no longer in there, and the people who are underemployed not in there. So the real rate's a couple percentage points bigger, and that unemployment is actually going to 12 to 20%, which is a very scary thing, because when you have that happen, that's when you have civil unrest. How many people know somebody in the last 2 months who's been burglarized? Raise your hand if anybody does. Okay. And how many people know somebody in the last 5 years before the whole recession thing started that got burglarized? A couple. Not as many. And that was a 5-year period over a couple-month period. Things are changing and they're bad. It's really bad. Our industry is going to do well. But it's going to be really bad in this country. And there's a chance that there's going to be riots in the street. There's a chance there's going to be civil unrest. That's what these smart people think. And I asked them, what percentage chance is there going to be riots in the United States? And they said 20%. So I went to Wikipedia and I typed in civil unrest, riots, blah, blah, blah. And then I found out, wow, yeah, I remember when I was a kid in New York and when I was 7, 8 years old, there were riots in New York. Things did get bad. That's the end of the bridge in the financial porn. Now we're going to start to feel better again.